What's up, guys? Welcome back to Green Ops Airsoft. Today is Loadouts for Lanes, episode 2. Today's loadout for lane is, we're still in the Speedsoft category. Today we are going to be doing a rifle setup for Speedsoft. So, with rifle setups, you can go a couple different ways. You can go super high AEG, or you can do like HPA build, or there are a bunch of different routes you can go. However, for the sake of today's video, we are going to be sticking with AEG. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first, we're going to pick out our safety gear, and in Speedsoft, as I said in the last video, a lot of people like to go for a paintball mask. And there are a bunch of different ways you can go, but today's video we're actually going to go with the EVS Crystal, because I've heard this has a more flexible lower than the other EVS one. So today's video we're going to be going with this one. Alright, now we are going to pick out our rifle. So for Speedsoft, you're typically in super close quarters, and you want to be able to whip off shots super fast, so you want something with great trigger response and that's super small. So we're going to go with an M4, which is the most highly used airsoft gun. And there are a bunch of different ones you can go with. However, we are going to go with the Lancer Tactical AirTac M4, if they have it here. Oh no, they don't have it here. Never mind. They might have the EMG one. Oh, EMG combat machine. So combat machines are highly upgradable. You can put pretty much whatever you want in these and they won't break. So they're like pretty much like the tanks of M4s. However, I am not seeing the one I want. We're just gonna look up combat machine. Hopefully it shows it to us, because I had one picked out and one exactly. I am not seeing it, sadly. They might not have it. Oh wait, hold on, it's a G&G combat machine. That's why I didn't find it. G&G combat machine. Remember that, guys. It's a G&G combat machine, not an EMG combat machine. So in rifles and whatnot, you're looking for two things. You're gonna make sure it has a MOSFET, which it does, and you're also gonna want to make sure that it has at least some sort of rails on it, that you can mount something, unlike the classic M4. So I think we want this to be as short as possible, because in close quarters you do not want a super long gun. That's just not good for close quarters combat. So we're going to go with this one. It's a little more pricey, but it should work very well. And then now we're going to want something to power the gun. We're going to want a LiPo battery, since it has a MOSFET. So it has a MOSFET, so you can run what's called a LiPo battery in it. And basically, a LiPo battery is a 3-celled battery. Oh, whereas if it has a fuse in it, you can only run like Li-9, whatever it's called. You can only run that in it, because the MOSFET helps regulate the power. And because it has a MOSFET in it, though, you're going to have to be very careful about how long you keep your battery inside of it, because if you keep your battery inside your gun for an extended period of time, it will burn out. So we are going to be looking for a Titan LiPo battery. These are the top of the line, highest end, best batteries for airsoft, and you're going to want an 11.1 LiPo battery if it can run that. We did not check what that is wired to, the combat machine. So there are two different types of connectors. There's Dean's and Tamiya. Tamiya is the older one. I'm expecting this to be Dean's, but wired with small Tamiya connector. So this one does have a Tamiya connector, which means it's less power efficient. However, that's fine. It's fine. It's just not going to be as power efficient. And these do have a chance of exploding if you leave them charging too long. So make sure you're very careful about how you leave these charging for. And you're also going to want a LiPo safe bag, because you want somewhere safe for them to be stored. And if you get a LiPo safe bag, it's not super expensive, and it's just that little extra safety, you're good. So I think it doesn't really matter what brand you get it from. Just get one big enough so that you can store your battery in there without tearing through the bag. So next up, this is going to be much more simple compared to the my last video where we did a gas blowback gun, and that required the whole other aspect of getting gas. So you're also going to want a charger for you're going to want a LiPo charger. Don't just plug in your LiPo into any normal charger. You want a LiPo specific charger, and get yourself a nice little one. Safety is always good. I've heard some good things about the B3 Pro. It doesn't matter what it's wired to, what your battery is wired to, whether it's Dean's or Tamiya, because these don't measure them on or you don't plug them into the chargers, whether they're Dean's or Tamiya. You just plug them in using the little white port. So there we go. And you don't have to constantly buy a new battery or constantly buy a new charger, because it will get charged as long as you have electricity in your home. So now we're going to look at BBs. And again, for today's video, we're going to do a tracer BBs. We're going to do tracer BBs. And we're going to go with the same ones I did in the last video, because these are relatively cheap, all things considered, and they're pretty nice quality BBs. So yeah, we're going to go with those. And now we want our tracer. So there are a couple different options. I like to go with a small one. You can either go for this one, but we're going to go with the same one we did in the last video, the Ace Tech Brighter Sea Tracer. This is the one I run on both my high kappa and my rifle, and it works very well for both of them. So we're going to use this one. And we have about $80 left, or $70 left. So there are a couple things we need to get. We need to get extra mags, So M4, we want mid-cap mags because those are the best ones. And we don't need a ton. We're going to go with EPM 1 M4 mags. These are like the gold standard, like best M4 mags out there by far. These are just like the best. And you're only going to need about 2 of these because they hold 250 rounds each. So these hold a ton in each one of them. And like they'll hold, like between the two, they'll hold 500 rounds, which is a lot and should get you through an entire game. So yeah, that's going to be about it, unless I forgot something. You don't really have a carrying system for this, but considering you're only really going to need 2 mags, I think you could just hold one in your pocket. And then for gloves, you guys probably have gloves at home, but I'm really just trying to keep this all under $500, or $700, which where we're at, I think is all good. I think I'm going to ditch the tracer unit for the sake of price, because since you're going to be going into Speedsoft, you're going to want your gun to shoot relatively fast, and most stock guns don't shoot terribly fast. So in place of our last gun, we're going to get some of these. These are very nice BBs. I've heard some very good things about them. For the sake of speed, we're going to want a new motor set and a new gear set. So some of the best motors are for M4s are ASG motors. And this is a very nice motor. I've heard some very good things about it. And if you can, you want to get the 40K, because this will shoot even faster than the 30K, and it's pretty much the same thing. And you're also, with the $30 we have left, we're going to want a gear set. We're looking for 16-1 gears, and basically 16-1 means the gears have to rotate 16 times for one BB to be fired, which may sound like a lot. However, they are very, very fast compared to your stock 22-1 or whatever you have in your gun. So we want decently fast gears. We can do 13-1. However, I think we're just going to stick with the motor we have. And because we have a faster motor, we're going to want a new piston for our M4 piston. And we want it to have all metal teeth. We don't want it to have plastic teeth, because I know when I first got my first airsoft gun, it broke actually. The plastic teeth on the piston got stripped, and I wasn't able to use it for about a week. So that really, really stinks. So you're going to want some nice metal teeth. And pretty much all M4 parts work with other M4s, unless it's like specific to one gun. All of them should work together. And since we have about 15 bucks left, we're going to go with the best upgrade for accuracy and precision and consistency. We're going to get a new bucking, a hop-up bucking. This little tiny $10 piece of rubber is one of the best things you can upgrade on an airsoft pistol, or any airsoft gun for that matter, because it helps so much in all sorts of fields of airsoft. The 4-wad smart airsoft, this is a very, very nice bucking, the only bucking you'll ever need, and yeah, this one's great. So that's all of it. If you're wondering about how to install the motor or the teeth or the bucking, there are plenty of videos on YouTube. Do not have like a tech or something do this for you though. These are all very simple things to install. They don't really require any teching knowledge for tuning or anything. And it'll cost you about another $100 to have a tech install these for you. However, I do believe the e-bike warranty can have all of these parts installed in your gun for you. So if you still have your e-bike warranty on your G&G combat machine, just remember that. So there you have it, folks. That is all that you're going to need to get yourself into Speedsoft. If you enjoyed today's video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.